Hey guys, April here again. I'm going to follow up with you from our last video, what we had to deal with in court yesterday. So we get there and my daughter is sitting with the DCF worker. She runs over to me upset and gives me a big hug and said, "Mommy, I'm scared." And I said, "I know, sweetheart." I said, "They have turned our life upside down again. They are not your friend. They're going to do anything to make Mama and Papa Smurf look bad, and we're going to continue to fight this because we have done nothing wrong but try to get our child help." So we get into the courtroom, and one of the girls, my daughter had no defense attorney. She had nobody there on her side but us. We were the only ones there to defend her. Not sure why she didn't have her attorney with her and present. All she had standing beside her was my husband and I, and then on the other side a DCF worker who blamed my husband and I for everything standing there. The biggest concerning thing that was brought to my attention after the first initial meeting that we had with DCF, and they escorted us out of the building because I had told them I did not want my child in the facility because it is not a secured facility and not a trained facility for a mentally ill child. They proceeded to say that they had no other placement for her. Bullshit. They did have other placement. There was a place right down the street for us that was willing to take her. All she needed to do was be evaluated to get in there. They refused to take her there. We called them and said, "Did they show up there? Did they do an evaluation?" She said, "No, ma'am, they have not brought her here." She says, "We completely agree that it's wrong that they're not taking her there, but they'd rather stick her in a homeless shelter." My daughter is in a homeless shelter. She's not in a facility. She's not in a secured facility. My child has a mentality level of a 5-year-old. And if she walks out that door, she could walk out into the middle of traffic because she doesn't understand consequences. She has reactive attachment disorder. She manipulates. She's been manipulating everybody there since day one just so that she can survive in there. She's got people bringing her to the movies, and which is scary in itself because she could disappear from there. Okay, so in court we are in front of the judge, and the judge really didn't want us to speak, and I asked to speak, and I told him that we had an alternative facility that social services wasn't looking into, and my husband said they were waiting for her and they refused to bring her there. The judge didn't want to hear it. He totally blew us off. I mentioned that my daughter had spoken to her grandmother that evening, and my mother said, "Well, we know it's a dangerous place there. We would hate for you to go there because it's a scary place." And my daughter said, "I'm scared. I don't want to go there. I will hurt myself if I go there." When the police arrived, because my husband had called the police while we were in the office yesterday, the day before yesterday, excuse me, and because we were thrown out of her building because she was saying things about gender and everything, and it started making my daughter upset, and she tried to make it look like that I was the one that made my daughter cry. And that wasn't the case. She was bad-mouthing my daughter, and my daughter got upset. And I said, "Look, you realize you have insulted my child 4 times right in front of her." I said, 4 times. You've upset my child. So because I raised my voice, she then turns to my daughter and says, "Oh, sweetheart, your mother's having a moment right now. Let's take you out of this toxic situation." Are you kidding me? You're now placing the blame on me after you insulted my child 4 times in front of her? So they demand the her birth certificate. Like I had said in the other video, they demanded her birth certificate, and I said, you get something in writing saying that she's not going to go to this scary facility. Whether you think she's going to be fine or not, I know my child. My child needs to be in a locked facility. Otherwise, she's going to wander. She's going to manipulate. She's going to steal. She's going to hurt people. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Nobody in the DCF knows anything about RAD. Nothing. Nothing about my RAD child. They see a sweet and innocent child. So what are they doing? What did the parents do wrong? That's what we got right now. So as we're pleading our case in court, the judge didn't want to hear it. I interrupted the judge and said, my daughter admitted over the phone to her grandmother that if she were to go to this facility, she would kill herself. My daughter stood right up and said, Your Honor, I will if I go back there. Guess who blew it off? Everybody in that courtroom. Everybody in that courtroom did not take my daughter seriously. It was on the record, on recorded, that my daughter admitted to wanting to kill herself if she went into that facility. So my husband and I walk out of there hoping that they will place her in a safe place where she can be monitored. And you know what they do? They said, I must have coached her to say this so that she didn't have to go to that facility. So she takes her to the movies and she takes her out to lunch and she says, oh, she's fine, and dumps her back off in that facility. I tried to call and they ignored me. Excuse me, I gotta hang that up. They tried, I tried to talk to her and they said that I have a no contact order on my child. I don't have a no contact order. I have nothing in writing. I have nothing stated, nothing voiced. I just have this place saying you cannot talk to your daughter, nor do you have the rights to know where she is. I'm livid. And we're going to fight for help. This isn't going to end. We're going to go above and beyond, and we're going to continue to fight because I am not going to be the victim. I am tired of people thinking that DCF rules the entire world. Well, I have another thing coming. This is one pissed off mother and one pissed off father. We asked DCF for help, and they have turned us into criminals. Absolute criminals. We can't have contact with our daughter. For what reason? Because you think I told my child to tell the judge that you want to kill yourself? I had exactly 30 seconds alone with my child, and she was on the phone with her grandmother, and I turned around and I was talking to my husband. I begged the police officers that my husband had called downstairs after we were escorted out of the building. I begged those officers. She will hurt herself. I know my daughter. She will hurt herself. Please Baker Act my child so that she is safe. Our child needs mental help. Where she's at, she's not receiving any help whatsoever. No counseling, no one to talk to, nothing. The place we found for her is a secured facility where she can get treatment while she's there. And they're ignoring it because they don't want to spend money. I'm sick. Absolutely sick to my stomach. And I've been sick for the last 2 days. I can't even cry anymore because I'm so numb to the fact that we have been criminalized. Treated like absolute criminals. This isn't going to end. The DCF worker called this morning, or last night she called and said, I need to pick up your child's things. And I said, well, we're out to dinner right now with our family, and you can come tomorrow around 10 o'clock. She said, okay. And at 9:45, she messages me, I'm going to be late. No, you're not. So now you're on my time. So I take my kids out to breakfast, and I message her back and says, you can come at 11 because you're on my time. You're not going to do this to me. You're not going to act like you own my entire family, because you don't. We have done nothing wrong. We have nothing in writing saying that we are not allowed to have contact with our child. We didn't sign our rights away. We wanted her there to get help. Otherwise, she would have stayed in the Department of Juvenile Justice System, where she is safe and secure. She was on 24-hour watch, suicide watch there, because she has hurt herself in the past. She had cut herself just before she was taken from us and placed into DJJ. She has a history of hurting herself, and yet they're going to stick her in a homeless shelter. And then she admits to a judge that she wants to kill herself if she goes back there, and they send her there. They forced her back there. And just telling her, oh, how sweet. It's okay. We're here to protect you. People are going to protect you there. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Thank you for listening.